We already briefly touched on this in a previous video, but now I'm going to show you in more detail Lifeline session labels feature, which is available for Lifeline Pro users, Pro subscribers. So you can attach a session label to any session or meeting that you track with Lifeline. And there are several ways how you can access them and change them. One is if you go to your Lifeline and you right click on any previous event on your line, it will open this window. And so what you'll see is here you can put a text label and here you can attach an emoji. And the nice thing about that is that you can then track your sessions along two variables. And I'll give you one example how I use this. I basically have two jobs or two main projects or work projects in my life. One is Saent with Lifeline and one is another where I do writing for a content marketing agency. So what I could do, for example, if I want to track how much time I spent on email, but I also want to make sure that I know how much of my time goes to Saent and how much of my time goes to my other job. What I could then do is I could put a label called email as I put here. And then when I'm doing email for my other job, which is a content marketing agency called Animals, I use this monkey icon. And if I'm doing email for Saent, I can use this icon, which I use for everything related to Saent. And it means that if, for example, I spend 10 minutes on my Saent email and 10 minutes on my Animals email, I will then get in my reports, which we'll look at in more detail in the next video, I will get 20 minutes for email, but in my emoji overview, I will see 10 minutes added to Saent and 10 minutes added to the monkey emoji. So that way, you can use this in many different ways, but the main way I use it is to kind of use the emojis to track the big areas of my life. And then I use the text labels to either to track more granular things like specific tasks like email or specific projects or things like that. And then that gets separated in the reports that we'll look at later. So that's a way to do it. The other way that is very important, like how and when you can attach labels, is when you go to preferences, you can, under session labels, you can indicate when you want the session label window to show up. So you can access it manually there, but you can also have Lifeline show it when you start a session or when you end a session, or when you auto launch a session. So that's a good reminder. So for example, I have all of them turned on. So you'll see now, if I start a session, then this label window comes out. So it reminds me to check, oh, is this the right label or not? Or do I need to change it? And then when I end the session, which I'll do now, it will again show up. So then that's just a good reminder to, first of all, make sure you put a label, and secondly, to check if it's the right label. And then you can put your own emojis, of course, and Lifeline will remember that. So like, for example, if I say Saent user research and I add that kind of angel emoji that I always use for Saent, then Lifeline will remember that. So then as soon as I start typing, so let's say there's something else here, then as soon as I start typing Saent user or Saent market research, it will already put this emoji there automatically. So it remembers that. And if you don't put any emojis, then here at least you can set a default emoji that you want to use for any meeting or any session that you track. And then the last thing, which we briefly touched on in a previous video, but you can also in your calendar plan sessions or, of course, meetings, and Lifeline will read those. So this is a meeting, Lifeline customer interview. If I go here to my Lifeline, you will see when I right click this that it has automatically, first of all, put the meeting there, but also it has taken the event name as a label. So that's a great way to make it very easy to track time and to have your labels automatically pre-filled. And then if you look this one, I've included an emoji at the beginning, and then it even takes the emojis. If I go here, you see that it automatically fills that emoji here and puts that information into your session label window. So this is how you can label, how you can easily label your sessions. And now in the next video, we're going to look at what happens when you do that and why that is useful to do.